Everybody, welcome. If you are new to our online community, my name is Ty Hicks. I'm a mental health coach, founder of Mental Health Solutions. And we are all in the business of making sure that you help get yourself the mental health that you deserve. We routinely help people improve their mental health by about 75% in 90 days is kind of the average timeline for most of our folks. And we just really care that you're able to either reduce anxiety, reduce depression, or if you've got some other ongoing issue, we want you to be able to help solve that. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you some insights I've been learning in the past year, working with a lot of our clients. And this is particularly around the subject of self-sabotage. So I know a lot of you have had this experience where you feel like you want to be doing one thing, but then you end up doing another thing. And what ends up happening for people very often is they have this sensation of, why did I do that thing that I just did? What was I thinking? What's wrong with me, right? So if you've ever had those kinds of thoughts, or if you feel like you are engaging in a pattern right now where you tend to say you want one thing, but then go after a different thing, then this is going to help you understand that. So people often believe that this is like self-sabotage. Why am I sabotaging myself? Well, it's not as simple as that. It's actually better to understand it in terms of conflicting values. So let me back up for a second. Our nervous system does what it does because of two master forces, and that's pain and pleasure, okay? And this is what causes us to do anything that we do psychologically. If you think about what you do as you go through your day, when you wake up in the morning, whatever series of habits and behaviors you have as you go through the day, you are every step of the way trying to either experience more pleasure or avoid pain. The reason why you are doing certain things is because you think that by doing those certain things, you are going to experience some type of pleasure. And whenever you are avoiding other things, it's because you think if I avoid doing that thing, I'll avoid some amount of pain. So that's where you live your entire life. Your entire life is between these two axis points, trying to go towards pleasure or trying to move away from pain. Right. And so it's always in this zone. Right. And the challenge comes when you're pursuing something that you think is going to be pleasurable, but then you, quote, sabotage yourself. Well, why is that? The reason why that is because you're headed towards that particular item, but part of your nervous system associates going any further with pain. So I'm going to share a couple stories. Of course, I'm going to keep the names and details of these individuals completely confidential, but these are real stories, real examples I see all the time, and I think you'll be able to resonate with them. So there's a common one that I work with. A lot of my clients are women. The majority of my clients tend to be women, just because they're more eager to improve their mental health usually. And one thing that I see with a lot of ladies, this happens with men too, but it's a little more common with ladies, is that very often they will have a desire to have connection, love, a relationship, right? They associate all of these pleasurable things to being with a partner, dating, right? All of those sorts of things. But they will, quote, sabotage themselves. So they will, make plans to go on a date, but then they'll cancel last minute. Or they will ask their friends to set them up with somebody, but then they'll come up with a reason why now's not a good time. Or they'll rationalize to themselves that, yes, I really do want to start dating again, but not right now. I'm going to wait until XYZ occurs, right? And the reason that that very often is because that person, in this case, a woman, the example I'm using here was a client I had last year who was a woman. And what happened was she had a very, very painful divorce a couple of years before that. And so what happened was part of her nervous system, part of her mind associates lots of pleasure with relationship, love, connection, all those things. But now her nervous system has a set of mixed associations. She also now associates pain to being in a relationship. Okay, now it's not always being in the relationship. Another common one is people go towards love, they get into a relationship, but as soon as it starts to get too serious, or as soon as they start to feel too close to that person, they think that, oh, if I get any closer to this person, I'm then going to experience an intolerable amount of pain if they leave me. So I'm going to leave first. And so they take a step back. So those are common ones. So what she was after, this client of mine, was after a conflicting set of values. Okay, think of a value as simply a feeling that you want to feel. Okay, so some of us value love. We're chasing after love in our life. We wake up in the morning and we go, gosh, okay, if I do this and I do this and I make more money and I do better at my job, then I'll get more approval from my family and then I'll be loved more. Or if I get more status at my church and I help out more, then people will think I'm a good person and then I'll get more love. Right? So for somebody who's after love, they'll have their own particular strategy of what they think they have to do in order to feel that feeling. Okay. So they might value love. Other people, for example, value safety, security, right? Things of that nature. And as you can see, those two values are in conflict with each other. If you're going to feel totally in love and be totally loving and have this beautiful, romantic, like open relationship, not open like, you know, polyamorous, but I just mean open, like you're open with them, like the walls are down, you're vulnerable, you know, you feel like this deep sense of intimacy with that person. Well, you can't really be massively in love with somebody, but also feel totally secure and safe. They're in conflict with each other. So if somebody is valuing both being in love and being safe, then they'll take action towards being in love until all of a sudden it doesn't feel safe. And then they'll pull away and they'll go in the opposite direction towards safety. They have conflicting values. They have mixed associations. So they associate both pain and pleasure, as in, well, if I get really in love, then I'm not going to be safe. Okay. Now, some other common examples, I'll give you another example. This one's from my own personal life. One of the big problems I had with my mental health was I wanted two conflicting values also. I wanted to be successful. So I had all of these things I thought I had to be and who I thought I had to be and how I thought I had to do things to be successful and, you know, make money and have status and all those things. That was something that I chased for a really long time. And at the same time, I also wanted approval. So I wanted every person that, you know, in my family to approve of what I did and all of my clients to approve of what I did. And I wanted any person who ever saw any of my content online to approve of what I did. And anytime I got any type of bad feedback or I got less than really, really positive feedback, I would take it really personally. So what I realized was I was taking action towards my goals until I thought that I would no longer get people's approval. And then I would, quote, sabotage. I would go in the opposite direction and I would try to get approval by, you know, just distracting myself, right? Procrastinating, not taking action towards my goals, only allowing myself to be a certain level of successful because I thought if I got any further than that, then that's going to be a problem, right? Things of that nature. So we all have different conflicting values. And that's part of why we have this experience where we get frustrated, where we're not constantly going in one direction. So here's a simple way for you to figure out what your conflicts might be. I'm going to give you 6 key things. These are kind of the 6 main drivers of our values. Okay, so the first big one is certainty. So very often what we're after is we're chasing something that we think will give us a sense of certainty or comfort or safety, security, predictability, however you want to word it, right? But very often what we're after is we want to feel that comfortable, safe feeling. We don't want to risk ourselves. And so this is one of the things that sabotages us because we're chasing after one thing and then we go, oh no, it's not safe anymore. And so then we'll go towards safety. So that's one of the big drivers, okay? The second big driver is for variety or uncertainty. So very often these are in conflict, as you could imagine. So very often you're going after like dating, romance, fun, playfulness, but then you start to feel insecure or sensitive. And so then you go back towards security. And so those can be in conflict, okay? A third big driver of human behavior is the need to feel significant. This has to do with feeling worthy, you know, feeling accomplished, feeling enough, essentially, is the idea. So people will do this in all sorts of ways. They'll try to be the perfect person. They'll try to please everybody. They'll try to accomplish a ton, right? Those are the common examples. And so the challenge with that, obviously, is if you're going to try to be significant and you're going to try to do something significant, that's going to conflict with certainty. So you'll very often feel a conflict between those items, okay? The fourth big driver of human behavior is connection and love. We all want to feel connection. We all want to feel love. And so I kind of just gave several examples where love can conflict with certainty. Love can also conflict with significance. So like if you find that maybe your ego is getting in the way of your relationship, that can be a big problem. Or maybe you end up fighting in your relationship a lot. And then you go, gosh, why the hell did I just fight with them? I love them. I don't know why I caused a problem. It's because you valued significance more than you valued love in that moment. So you engaged in a values conflict, okay? The fifth big driver of human behavior is growth. So very often, again, we're chasing after growth, but then we start to feel uncertain. So we'll sabotage our growth and go towards certainty. Or we think that if we grow enough, then that will give us more significance and more love. So those can sometimes be aligned with each other. They can sometimes be in conflict, okay? And then the sixth one is contribution. So we all do feel an urge and a drive to contribute to other people. We tend to feel the most fulfilled when we contribute towards other people. And that's a big driver of human behavior as well too. But you can see how that can conflict, especially with something like certainty. It can also conflict with significance. So maybe you want to be a giving and loving person, but then part of you goes, well, if I keep giving any more than I already am, how can I be certain that they're not going to take advantage of me? Or if I keep giving, because I do want to give, I want to contribute, and I do want to experience love and connection, that's great. But now I'm starting to not feel as significant anymore. I'm starting to feel insignificant comparison to them. So we'll very often have a conflict between contribution and significance, okay? So those are the 6 big drivers of human behavior. One of those is at the top of your list for you. So for example, somebody who's trying to feel certainty all of the time, feeling secure or safe, is going to live a very different life than somebody who's trying to feel love all of the time. So one helpful distinction that you can make for yourself is to kind of ask yourself which one of those 6 is the top driver for you. Because someone who's obsessed with certainty is going to be more anxious, more worried, more obsessed with trying to like predict and control and make it feel safe. Somebody who is focused on growth instead of certainty is going to live a totally different life. They're going to notice things differently. They're going to talk to people differently. They're going to have different relationships. They're going to interact differently at work, right? Because they value growth. So they chase after growth. They go, what? Certainty? I don't need certainty. I'm chasing after growth. And so they will pursue that value. If people value certainty and growth equally, you can see they're going to have a lot of conflict. They're going to feel like they're sabotaging their growth a lot. Okay? So here's my little thing that I would encourage you to do that will help you a lot. Figure out which of those 6 has been at the top of your list for you, and maybe put this in the comments would be great. Which one of those 6 has been at the top of the list for you? And then which has been at the second priority? Like what have been the top 2 for you that maybe have been in conflict with each other? Or what is the big conflict that you tend to have between desires? And once you can get honest with yourself about that, that can be a really powerful step in the right direction. The next step to resolve a conflict, okay, is for you to address any limiting beliefs that would be causing you to feel pain in regards to what you really want. So with this woman that I worked with last year, she really wanted a relationship. She really did, but she was also deathly afraid of a relationship. So what I had to do is I had to dig in deeper and tackle with her, what are the limiting beliefs that you're holding on to that are affecting how you look at a relationship? So what I asked her is I said, in order for you to feel this scared, what would you have to believe? Okay. And that's what you can ask yourself too. In order for you to sabotage yourself and to stop pursuing what you really want, to be afraid and then change paths, right? In order for you to do that, what would you have to believe? And if you ask yourself that question like 3 to 5 times, you will get each one of the limiting beliefs out on paper. And then you can start to look at those and go, I don't know if those are really true. So for her, one of her beliefs was, my next marriage will fail, right? Another one that she had was something like, I'm unlovable, right? Those were her 2 big ones. It's like, oh, well, no wonder you really, really want a relationship, but you don't let yourself go out on too many dates, right? Because she was believing those things. So she was deathly afraid of being left and being found to be unlovable, right? And so I asked her the golden question, which was, is that really true? Is it really true? Like, do you know for absolute sure, do you absolutely know with total certainty that your next marriage is not going to work? And she said, well, no, of course not. I don't know that. I don't have a crystal ball. And I said, okay, great. Now let me ask you, is it really true that you are unlovable? And she said, no, of course not, right? And as soon as we get honest with ourselves, we realize that those old limiting stories and beliefs that we tell ourselves are usually not true. But the problem is, if you don't get them out on paper, then they'll still drive you. They'll still guide the inner story. So you have to figure out what those are, okay? So if you're sabotaging yourself, you're not really sabotaging yourself. You have a conflict of values. You associate pain and pleasure to the thing that you keep chasing, but then you keep avoiding. So figure out, what is it that you're chasing after that you believe will give you pleasure, either more certainty, more variety, more significance, more connection and love, more growth, more contribution. And then what is the thing that you are, what is the pain that you associate with that item, right? Like, what are you worried is going to happen if you were to actually get what you're after? Because that will show you why you keep cycling in the same cycle, going back and forth and back and forth. Okay? And if you're ever having trouble sorting this out, it's a complicated topic. It's tough to sort out unless you have a trained eye for it. If you ever want some help, you're always welcome to book a free appointment with me. I'll put a link here on the video, or actually, I tell you what, just go to our website, mentalhealthcoaching.com. You can always book a free appointment with me where I can give you some advice, and we'd be happy to help you. But I'd love to see any comments. Does this resonate? Does this help you out? And if there's any way we can help you sort this out yourself, please, just the more you communicate with us, the more the community can help you. So congratulations for being here. If you're new to the community, welcome. If you don't know who I am and kind of what we do, again, we help people naturally reduce depression and anxiety by about 75% on average, usually within about 90 days. I used to be suicidal. I overcame depression by learning how to retrain my brain, and I do these videos, and we have this group because anybody can have sustainably great mental health so long as you learn the skills and the tools to do it, and you deserve to have really great mental health. So hope this has been helpful to you. I look forward to seeing your comments in the group, and we'll chat with you soon. See ya.